Skirting around change, there's so many different aspects that I want to bring in this weekend of why we feel frozen in not making change or, paralyzed, or we spiral into rage, or we just feel we're not lovable. What did I do wrong? I may do something wrong, so I'm frozen in that as well. So, what is stopping you from change and what patterns are in the way of change? So, this weekend, I'm going to be working with, well, the epigenetics, the ancestors, where they were frozen in, the nervous system, for example, where they were frozen also in guilt or shame or fear. Another one which came up this morning is, and it came up yesterday as well, is, for example, if a loved one passes or there's somebody sick in the family, that we feel, guilty. It's almost like there's a party, like this visualization in a session where, there's fireworks outside and you're in the house with all your ancestors and you feel guilty about stepping out into the garden, into life and creating your own life. So there's a part of you still frozen and back in guilt or shame from moving on or enjoying life. So, how many of us are stuck or frozen in our own systems where we're stuck in belief systems that I feel guilty to enjoy life, guilty to move on, guilty to let go? And it's very beautiful here in Athens on the ancient cemeteries, on the tombs. What they have is a very beautiful picture. Was for me, it was very touching and very real. And that is where someone's making transition. You have all the ones who want to say goodbye and let them go into their new journey, standing in front of them. And then behind them is all the ancestors waiting them to take them up into the next life. And another visualization I got was, a Viking ship where, the loved ones are on the shore and they send the body off on the ship and then they burn the ship or the boat. And this is the transformation into the next life. So, and then you turn away and you go into your own life. So it's a ritual. So ritual for me is really sacred and beautiful. And there's a reason they did these rituals is, they all meant something. It's a part of us that hang around or we keep a loved one in our lives and from making transition. So for me, it's very important to, come out of the cemetery or come away from the ashes. When a loved one dies, if they're cremated, there's ashes, but the ashes represent the the dead parts, that's going to be reintegrated into life, and then the soul leaves the body and there's ashes left. So if you're hanging onto the grave or the ashes, it means you're hanging on to the deadness, the part of the soul that is dead, that's not in transition. So it's about celebration of the loved ones, of their new journey, the phoenix, the transformation, the metamorphosis, and the catalyst of releasing and letting go. And this goes very much for ourselves. So, on a daily basis, there's part of us like the caterpillar, and we're letting go and we're becoming the butterfly. So, in this webinar, I'm going to be working with all these aspects of our soul or parts of us that feel frozen or disbelief or stuck in stories of that we tell ourselves of why we don't move on or why we're not ready or why it's not perfect enough. This it's about the journey. So the nervous system is a very important part about why we skirt around changes and why we're afraid of stepping into life and stepping into our potential. And then it's unmasking ourselves, uncloaking ourselves, and releasing ourselves from the prisons of the mindsets so we can make real change in our lives and really enjoy life while we're here in this physical body and live it to our fullest potential while we're here in this physical body, and to release the epigenetic chains or slavery that is keeping us, our fears, anxieties, which is locking us in a prison within our own system. And it's very much like the webinar I did, the donkey and the rope, where the donkey is tied to the tree, and then you release the rope, but the donkey never leaves that circle. And that is ourselves. So, how many of those aspects of our being is stuck with that rope. That is an internal prison. So in this field, I'm going to be working very much with releasing that rope from the system and setting you free. So I'm really excited about this weekend. It's a very important webinar as they all are different aspects of consciousness within the academy. And each one takes us to another aspect of ourselves. So this is about releasing the bondage of that donkey and the rope, the past, the fears, the illusions, the nervous system, freeing us up from the frozen fields where I'm afraid to move because something bad's going to happen or it's not safe or I have to save my energy. So releasing those trauma bonds, releasing the the part of us that feels like something bad's going to happen, the anxiety of something's going to bad is going to happen. So I'm not stuck in worrying about the future and also the past. So it's like setting you up in life to be present, embodied, fully present on a cellular level and bringing that life force into the cells, bringing that into your system fully. So this is going to be a big one over the weekend. I can feel it coming. So I'm very excited. Yeah, let's see what comes true. And it's really, I feel we can clear so many patterns, so many systems. And I know I say this a lot that we couldn't clear before very, very fast. And what's happening in the world is just a representation of ourselves because it's all aspects of ourselves. And then it's to make peace with them and then to recreate and set ourselves free of the different ego states, which is all part of ourselves. So I look forward to opening up these fields over the weekend so you can drop into your essence and drop away from the movies, the movies that are on pause, frozen, where you're frozen and where you're disconnected, and go into full presence, embodied on a cellular level, and really allowing your nervous system to regulate and coming out of the frozen parts of the nervous system, the explosive part, the rageful parts of the nervous system, the nervous part of the nervous system that doesn't feel safe, and really integrating all yourself back into your own nervous system, back into your own system, and then living life to your potential and celebrating life, because that's what it's about, the journey. So I look forward to, yeah, inviting you to be part of this webinar that will allow you to reset your nervous system, regulate your own nervous system, and come out of those frozen fields and the epigenetic information which is not serving you. So you can step fully into embracing and living your essence, which is a pure eternal spirit in this physical aspect, having the experience from the heart, having the experience. This is what I'll be doing over the weekend. So if you feel like signing up, I look forward to seeing you at the webinar. Thank you.